Last one.
Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our presentation. My name is Suvansirit Manawong, Mojave Sandu, Apisit Suanpalit, and Stuart McAdam. Our topic today is about the ATO, or Australian Tax Office, and holistic change. I'm going to do the introduction and conclusion, and the rest is going to do the question number 1, number 2, and number 3. Okay, do you know what percentage of organizational change fails? According to Aiken and Keller, in 2009, most organizational change fails. However, the purpose of our presentation today is about the example of successful organizational change at ATO based on Hartel's case study. The change was driven by the need to increase the taxpayer compliance and to move organizational culture from entitlement culture to performance culture. There are 3 questions we're going to cover today based on our report. The first question it's about how HR architecture facilitate horizontal, vertical, and environmental fit in organization. RPC is gonna explain the first question, and the second question is about the function of 4 roles of HRM in organization. Mojave is gonna explain the second question. And the last question, Stuart's gonna discuss the importance of corporate philosophy in implementing the HR configuration. Okay, I gotta hand it to
Okay, good afternoon, teacher and classmates. Today I will cover the first question. I'm Apisit, but you can call me Peter because I will be Peter for 5 minutes. Okay, let's start with the question 1. How does the HR architecture facilitate horizontal, vertical, and environmental fit in organizations? Before we answer the question, I will guide you to some step-by-step from HR architecture views. The HR architecture represents all aspects of HRM, which comply the HR systems, process, and the function, as well as the performance of employee behaviors. And these aspects can reflect the management and the development of an organization human capital. The HR architecture is also viewed as an enabler of vertical, horizontal, and environmental fit at the Australian Taxation Office. Okay, let's start with the first one, vertical fit. The vertical fit refers to the process of uh, performance management which has been aligned in order to achieve the organizational goals in the long run, and to ensure that the key elements of the organizational environment, including strategy, technology, and culture, can suit the HR systems. Moreover, the vertical fit can be seen as a means to conduct the organizational performance management, which can be used to measure the achievement of organizational performance and the organization strategic goals. The next one is about horizontal fit. The horizontal fit refers to the balance of the HR policy and practices in terms of indicating the clear principle for staff members, especially how they should behave at the workplace. Additionally, the horizontal fit or horizontal integration can be the key component to certify that the HR practices are appropriate to the objectives of organizations, such as recruitment, selection practice, rewarding, training, and performance appraisals of an organization. Besides the vertical fit and horizontal fit, the environmental fit can be seen as one of the most significant factors that can influence the performances of organization. The environmental fit refers to the congruence of the organization to its environment, which can divide it into two dimensions: the internal environment and external environment. In terms of the ATO, its external environment includes individual and business taxpayers, labor markets, government sector, and the economy. Therefore, to meet the object of the firm, the environmental fit should be taken into account, as well as the vertical and horizontal fit.
So the next is the four major roles of the human resource management in SHR model. First, strategic partner. Second, as a change agent. Third, administrative expert. And fourth, as an employee champion. First, strategic partner. HR role spreads across all the organizations, and they are focused on achieving the organization objectives and goals. The principal objective of HR is to ascertain the best fit of human resources and policies, acting as a change agent. Next. HR professionals has the power to facilitate the effective changes in the organization. They can change the organization for the betterment of the organization. They can also protect the employees against the adverse effect of the certain changes in the organization according to the environment. Next, HR as an administrative expert. Without a highly expert HR function, the administrative expert role of the HR practice cannot play a strategic role. So, HR act as a strategic as well as administrative and change agent. HR practices are involved in managing the effectiveness of the new policies and technologies, expanding its role as a functional expert as well as administrative expert. HR as an employee champion. The role of employee champion emphasizes more on the needs of the employees. The needs in order to bring the capabilities and competence of the employees. It can be done due to the betterment of the organization. As the employees are protected, they can be it is the role of HR to protect the employees against the adverse effects of the changes and to help them in recruiting or any changes in the organization, and they can also reward them according to their needs, which in turn can bring more capabilities, more their talents, more their researches to the organization and help them to develop more. Over to the start.
Okay, I'm going to discuss the importance of corporate philosophy in implementing the HR configurations, and this is especially important to do with the ATO. Corporate philosophy is based on explicit values, and this also expresses organisational culture and motivates staff. Now, being explicit with values means that organisations often have value statements which are clearly produced in either reports, company documents, and also on company websites. Staff are very, very clear about this. The plane change of the ATO is radical change, so it's actually a really fundamental change. So it's a very major change, it is plan change, and the plan change is to move from an entitlement culture where people turn up and expect to be paid to a performance culture where they get based where the pay and the rewards are based on the outcomes that they have for the organisation and the outcomes they have for the taxpayers and government. The aim is to improve relationships with taxpayers, improve compliance. Like a lot of other governments, Australian government has a lot of problems with tax avoidance and tax evasion. So one of the things that all states need to do, including Australia, is to increase compliance by taxpayers. One of the things you can increase compliance is create a better relationship with the taxation office and its taxpayers. Okay, the ATO philosophy. The ATO philosophy for us is a real no-brainer. People are vital to the organisation's success. For us, I think this is not astounding. Organisations are full of people. I must admit, sometimes I don't really even like the term human resource. I actually like the term people. So human resources, whether it's the HR function or whether it's human resources as people in the organisation, need to be aligned with the organisation and its requirements, such as the organisational objectives. There's several ways in which they can do this, and these include the organisation's HR systems, the work practices, workforce flexibility, and staff development. And staff development is not just training, staff development is something very, very much long term. So staff development is used for career development, and a number of people actually have a career within the Australian Taxation Office. Okay, so going back to what Mahumbia was saying, with 4 roles of HR, 4 roles of strategic partner, change agent, administrative expert, and employee champion. These are really, really important roles. But as Peter was saying before, these are somewhat not necessarily outdated, but actually they have been updated. So this is something that the ATO may well look at as actually looking at perhaps more recent research. But whatever happens, they need to focus on moving the organisation to be much more collaborative and also to be focused. So HR functions and HR staff, the staffing of the organisations have to be focused and also work in a much more collaborative way. So each of those 4 roles need to be spread throughout the whole organisation, not just implemented within different HR offices, but actually spread throughout the whole organisation so that HR has an overview of the organisation and actually HR activities and HR roles are spread throughout the whole organisation, so the HR role is affecting the whole organisation. It's not fragmented as it was before.
Well, let's come to the conclusions. From our 3 questions, ATO case study is an example of successful organizational change. When organizational change, 3 key areas we we recognize, like we implement in this situation. The first one, HR architecture, involves HR system, practice, structure, employee behaviors. And the second one, HR function. That is, HR acts as a strategic partner. HR acts as change agent, acts as administrative agent, and employee champion. And the last important thing, when organizational change, we need to communicate. Communication is very important about our organizational philosophy. We need to make every employees or everyone in organization to understand what's our direction, to get everybody go into the same direction and change to the positive way. Okay, that's about our presentation. Okay. So and the important thing when the organizational change, for example, not for particularly external environmental change, the internal environmental, we need to adapt continuously by using CHRM, like continuous improvement. We need to improve our organization. Okay, continuous. ATO could be a good model for another organization as well. Okay, that's all about our presentation. So now let's come to questions.
Right, questions, folks?
Question. How is the corporate philosophy important in the implementation of the HR configuration?
How is it important? Really comes down to values. If they value people, one of the things they do is value people collaborating with each other in the organisation. Also, if they value people, they also value taxpayers. So they're treating taxpayers as people. So no, I heard various complaints at lunchtime about the way that our inland revenue has been treating the taxpayers here. And I actually used to work for inland revenue, and I actually tend to agree. And also the Australian Taxation Office had very much the same reputation. So the corporate values, in terms of expressed through the corporate philosophy, whether it's through the Taxation Office or whether it's through other organisations which have a clear philosophy as well, actually stems not only within the organisation but actually from the organisation to its external environment. And I think in that way it can become a really positive for benefit for the people inside the organisation and also its clients and customers.
Yeah, but it still doesn't relate to HR configuration, but it doesn't matter. I do think it was interesting how you mentioned that if a company has values that are published on their website and are in a report, and you said a third thing as well, that's
it's about communication.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Because the company I work for does have its value on its website, and actually they're on every room on the wall, and on the in reports and so forth. And we were asked one day, and not a single employee knew what our values were. It was quite funny.
Well,
obviously very upsetting for the boss that knows it.
I think that is a bit telling that because this is the same with mission statements.
Yeah, absolutely.
That mission statements maybe classes
often
they're on corporate floors, and people and staff cannot quote them.
No, that's right, because they don't mean anything to anybody else apart from top management.
Yeah, so this is also one of the. This actually comes down to reality, the difference between theory and reality as well.
Absolutely.
But I think what you were saying before about the importance of corporate philosophy means that one of the reality of organisational change is you should expect resistance. And the reality is, if you have a corporate philosophy and you put it in documents and you plaster it on walls, don't expect people to be able to quote it. But actually, the thing is actually to, even if you can't quote it, is actually to get people to move a little bit. And one of the things I found really interesting about this case study was that it made a clear link between change and organisational culture, basically saying that you cannot change an organisation without changing organisational culture. This is the reason why organisational change mostly fails. Mostly people change organisational structure, they change roles, and they forget, what are you got to change? You've got to change people. And people don't change overnight, you do it gradually. And this is one of the reasons why I think this has been successful, because it's not only a plan change, and it's a radical change. Radical change doesn't mean you have to change overnight.
No.
This is a plan change, which is a gradual change, and it's still ongoing, which I think is really, really good.
Yes,
Good. Well done. Good little lecture there. A cameo on what it's all about for my change management course. So thank you for that. Okay, folks, thank you very much. Let's give them a round there. Right. I promised you a comfort break, but I missed it, so you're having it now. A 5-minute break, and I'll just summarize and finish off everything. Let's have a